Hi everyone, it is Tony here from Custom PCs Australia. Today we're going to have a deep dive into Starfield. We are fast approaching the release date, and in today's video we're going to be going through some things that you really should know. Starfield is an upcoming sci-fi RPG from Bethesda, the developers for Elder Scrolls and also the Fallout series. The reason I wanted to highlight this is that this is Bethesda's first new IP in 25 years. Starfield will be releasing on Game Pass, PC, and Xbox Series X and S. The release date is the 6th of September 2023. You can get in earlier if you buy into the Premium or Constellation Edition. This will release 5 days earlier on the 1st of September. The game will be taking up 100 to 130 gigabytes of your hard drive space, with of course likely updates in the future, which will then add further to this. Let's talk a bit more about the game itself now. One of the biggest selling points is that there are over 100 different solar systems, and with each of those it's going to be contributing to over 1,000 different planets. Each of those planets will have its own plants, wildlife and resources, even unique locations. I did want to put some emphasis on one point here, the wildlife. They're not just all alien monsters. Wildlife has been designed in a way which feels like they belong as part of the planet that they inhabit, something that we can relate to as we see animals here on Earth, but they will look slightly different, given a sort of alien appearance. But they will still act and respond exactly like animals, habitable to that planet. There are creatures within the game which will have some abilities. We've seen in some of the gameplay reveals that the gator will have an ability, which is a ranged mouth attack. The swarming dragon has the burning damage ability. So just because Bethesda have taken inspiration from the wildlife here on planet Earth, doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to act exactly the same. The core gameplay loop for Starfield is about scanning planets and selling data for space credits, which will then allow you to get access to even better gear, which will allow you to do your job more efficiently. Every single planet is procedurally generated with some handcrafted details. For example, cities as well as outposts will be handcrafted, as well as there being dynamic events, but the planets themselves are entirely procedurally generated. Character creation is not the first thing you'll do within game. When you first start, you'll actually be straight into a gameplay introduction. After this introduction, you'll finally get to your character creation. The system is as simple or as in-depth as you want it to be. You'll start off with a preset, and with this you can just take that preset and immediately jump into the game. Or you can start customizing the body, face, background and traits. What's interesting is every face within Starfield is backed by the exact same system, not just the characters that you can create, but also every other character within the game, including the non-player characters. Meaning if there's someone that you really like the look of and you wish your character looked like, you can recreate them entirely down to the finest detail. Even when you lock in your looks, you can change them at a later date. It does say when you first start customizing your character that if you want to change this, you'll need to go and head to a genetics facility. This adds another layer to your character. It's not just about customizing the looks, but also providing unique skills and abilities from the get-go. For example, you can have the background of a chef, which means you'll be able to craft special food and drinks and research additional recipes. This will give you 10 more melee damage and you'll gain an extra 30 health points. On the other hand, you can take the background of a diplomat, which will increase chances of success on speech challenges. You'll be able to force target non-player characters below your level to stop fighting for a time, and you'll be able to buy for 5% less or sell for 10% more at vendors. These backgrounds will really change the content that will be available to you. Traits also do a similar thing, except it's not always a positive. You'll have a positive effect from using traits, but still also be a negative one alongside it. For example, we can take a look at alien DNA, which will have a higher health pool and greater endurance from the get-go, but it also means hidden items are less effective. Then there's the dream home trait. This means when you very first start the game, you'll actually start with a house on a peaceful little moon. But with this, you'll have a mortgage. So you'll have to spend 50,000 credits every single week. You can have up to 3 traits, but it's also worth highlighting that they are optional. If you don't want to deal with any of the negative side effects from any of these, then you can just start the game without any traits. It just means that you won't have the positives to go alongside them. It's also worth highlighting that you can also remove the negative side effects within game, while still claiming the benefits. We're not exactly sure how this is going to work. It's likely that there's going to be some type of gameplay mechanic, which is unlikely to be easy, but this will just fit into a risk-reward system. Whilst going through your journey, your character may become sick, and this will affect you in-game. There are occasions where we're able to see the character have a cough, and it's believed that this is just early stage. If that cough goes untreated, it could potentially be something much worse. Starfield is an RPG game, which means that there will be skills and skill points. You will first need to have a skill point to unlock the skill, but once you have that skill, for you to actually rank that up and improve upon it, you'll need to keep on using it. For example, there's an intimidation skill, and that requires you to successfully intimidate 5 different people. Once that's done, this skill will then be ranked up. Each skill can be ranked to a maximum of rank 4. All of these skills are broken down into 5 different skill trees: physical, social, combat, science, and tech. The main questline will require you to join the Constellation, which are described as the last true explorers in the galaxy. The story itself has been confirmed to be around 30 to 40 hours in length, but it's unlikely that you'll be completing it within that time. The 30 to 40 hour main storyline is just the story. You're likely to spend over 100 hours on side quests, and potentially even more if you're looking to explore every single planet. There is a lot of dialogue within Starfield. It's already been said that Starfield has 4 times more dialogue than Skyrim had, and Skyrim was known to have a crazy amount of voice acting. This is very impressive, unless of course you don't like dialogue, in which case, well, it could be pretty boring. Ship customization is also part of Starfield. You'll have complete freedom to build whatever it is that you want to build, except that it will be rather expensive. What's been described so far is that ships will mainly be endgame. You will not be able to start this game and immediately start building the ships that you want to build, because a lot of them that we saw in the trailer reveals that they are costing around 700,000 credits, and they may not have been the most expensive ones. It is believed to be a lot of higher priced ships will be available. With that said though, ships can be massive. We're able to see clips of what has already been revealed, and it's hard to say exactly how big they can be until you go and see this image. You'll see the person bottom left, and you see the ship size. Even the small ones are fairly large. You don't always need to customize your ship. You are still able to go to a ship technician and able to buy presets. It's likely that you'll have to do this from the moment that you first start this game, all the way up from mid towards even endgame. You'll be able to board enemy ships in dynamic events. There are also some ships which are supposed to be friendly, and you're able to board them, one of which is Grandma. This is a dynamic event where you'll be invited to board her ship. If you want to, you can steal ships, but if you're looking to go and find the most expensive ships, steal them and sell them, you will first need to go and add them to your fleet, which will be expensive, and then this must be done before you actually sell that ship on. So it's not the case of if you're really trying to build what you want to build, that you could just go off and steal everything and use that to fund your project, because you'll still need to have money in order to make money. The spaceships that you do create as well as you buy can be fully customized. The name can be anything that you want it to be. The most important thing with the ships though is the stats. With every single component that you add or take away, it will either increase or decrease certain elements. You may create something which looks amazing, but it might not actually function well, and that's something that you'll need to balance, especially when you're going into combat. Because as you go out into the big wide universe, there are going to be a lot of enemies out there, and they're going to want to take you down just as much as you want to take them down. They have resources, you have resources, and that's going to lead to a lot of credits, with it also leading to a lot of conflict. One way in which you can adapt as you go along your journey will be your ship's power supply. If you're wanting to just travel from point A to point B, you can put all your power into your engine, and that will give it more power in order for it to push you a lot further, getting there a lot quicker. But the second that you do get into combat, you can actually change your power supply to put more power into your weapons, which will make your weapons more powerful, but it also means you're going to be slightly slower, as not as much will be in your engine. This can change depending on your situation, and it adds a bit more of a strategic level to this game. Looking away from your ship, let's actually talk about your character weapons. Along your journey, you'll be able to find loads of different weapons, being able to pick them up, find different ammo suppliers, and then be able to take on your enemies. With the weapons, there's also a customization option. You'll be able to change the receiver, internal optics, magazines, and batteries. Also the muzzle. This yet again improves aspects as well as reducing the effectiveness of certain other parts of the weapon, but allowing you to customize it the way that you want to customize it. There are 3 main weapon types within the game. You have ballistic, which is your typical gunpowder guns, energy weapons, which require a battery, and mag weapons, which are high-powered electromagnetic shells. Depending on the weapon you select will depend on what category it fits in, and depend on the category will depend on how you will have to adapt your playstyle. When you've travelled to a planet and you realise that there's loads of resources for you to gather, you're able to create an outpost, and you can create outposts on nearly every planet. Not every single planet, but nearly. It's a very high number, much more than what most players are expecting. And once an outpost is created, you're able to keep crewmates at that outpost, so that the outpost will function without you, meaning that you can leave, do what you need to do, come back at a later date to collect your resources. A bit of No Man's Sky vibes here. New Atlantis is the largest city within the game, and it's likely that the majority of the content will be here. You actually have to travel to New Atlantis fairly early on, because this is where the Constellation headquarters are. You're also able to bring on a companion. The companion you select will have their very own skills and abilities, some more than others depending on the companion that you select. There may also be some romantic options available, which will then unlock even more content if you wish to go through it. And it's worth mentioning that there is a difference between a companion and a crew member. A crew member we did briefly talk about earlier, that you can have crew members who will help you and give you a helping hand with your ship and various outposts. A companion will then join you on these journeys and still give you a helping hand, but there's an extra layer, something a bit more intimate. Bethesda have said that they will continue to expand Starfield as time goes on, with there being more and more DLCs revealed, more updates and story expansions. And they've also said that they're going to fully support the modding community, allowing the modding community to create their very own content, which we'll also be able to see within game. And finally, Starfield's very first DLC has already been revealed. It is titled Shattered Space. Starfield is set to be huge and a possible Game of the Year contender. Keep following our channel to see more Starfield news. If you click the notification bell, you will be notified whenever we upload new content. Thanks for watching. We will see you in the next one.